cleaning the yard and making room. And Gramp's doing what he does. It's gonna be a hot one today, but let's go stack with Gramp. woke up this morning, my back wasn't feeling very good. It's really not feeling good now. Went to pick up one of those bigger rounds and that was it for today. Pretty well threw my back out, but that's okay. We'll get by. That's why we have machines now. Let me show you what we got left, what we did, and what we're gonna do. So I'll stack these in the morning if my back's feeling better. We got most of that third row finished. We cleaned a spot up. I've got some 14-inch firewood that's left up there. We'll get that cleaned out of the way. They're gonna put the next load of logs that shows up tucked right against the end of this one. And then we will stick the processor in on an angle and we will load and feed it that way. So let's wait for the log truck to show up. Gramp's brushing off, taking off, and we'll see what else the day holds. So there's a load of processor food right there. Short stuff, but we'll get it worked, get it put on there. He's gonna unload it, go back. He says he's got another one too, so looks like we're gonna grab a couple loads of this stuff, so that'll be a good thing. Some runners. We'll have to do some trimming. Some of these are a little funky, like that one right there. That back log's nice oak log. That'll be nice through the processor for sure. Short lengths, so we won't have to buck anything down. We'll be able to get it right on the processor without fiddling with it a whole lot, so that's kind of nice too. There's some longer stuff on the bottom, but for the most part what's on the truck is fairly short. Not all of it will go to the processor, but most of it will. Nice logs right there in the front. Those will be good for the processor. Both oak. No, one's maple, one's oak. Cut the crotch off of that one. So I talked to the log hauler. He's got 8 to 12 loads of processor grade dry tree length that he hauled home last winter. So we're gonna start getting some of that in now that we got the processor. So that'll be nice. We'll have some dry seasoned firewood. We'll come back in a minute when he's got this mostly unloaded. Now there's a stick for the processor right there. Nice stick of ash. It's about as big as the processor's gonna want to handle. But that's exactly what you want with that repeater wedge to get the most you can out of it. That's a beautiful stick of ash right there. I see another big one tucked on the side of the trailer right here too. So he's putting some nice stuff right down in the front. That's going to be our first test run with the processor. There's another nice stick right there. That'll add to the processor pile too. I'm getting excited. Can't wait. And there he goes. Go back and grab another one. So while we let the back heel up, we may as well get some forks to load that processor with. Here they come. Alright guys, so we've got a few logs sitting here on the 1820 turbo. We're going to run the first logs through it, see how it goes. I've got my lovely camera lady running the camera. We're just going to run these few logs. I threw my back out. I'm not going to get too crazy with it, but I got to see what this thing will do. Got some logs loaded on. We used Little Red with the new forks that we got from SR1 equipment over in Orono. So shout out to them for having everything we needed in stock. We'll run these through and see what happens, so let's give it a go. Well, first run, M1820 turbo with the repeater wedge. I'd say it's a pretty good success. What's in the trailer is all nice and uniform, and that's a fair amount of wood in the trailer. It didn't take us very long at all, maybe 10 minutes. So with that being said, if we could fill this trailer in 40 to 50 minutes all in one shot, that's putting you about a cord and a half an hour, which isn't too bad. And the firewood is consistent. Nobody is going to get a piece of firewood that is bigger than what is supposed to be going through that wedge. So that makes this a huge win for us. It's going to be much more efficient for our customers. So overall first impressions, I like it. It's going to take some getting used to, just like any new machine, and I'm sure once I get used to it I can speed up, but for right now I'm happy with it. We'll keep running it. Gramp came over, he gave it his blessing earlier, so maybe we'll see him on it, but he already knows he's got a bunch of crooked wood to cut still, so I got a feeling he'll keep with his chainsaw until he doesn't have any more crooked stuff to cut. So I guess that's gonna be it. I'm gonna go nurse my back and try to make that a little bit better, and we'll hit this again tomorrow. But remember guys, a little bit every day goes a long way. Help someone if you can. The new Cord King M1820 turbo with the repeater wedge. I gotta say, I'll give it 2 thumbs up for right now. So we'll keep running it, we'll keep you guys updated, and we'll go from there.